All right, it's been a minute since we've been here. It's been more than a minute actually. We were waiting on answers for our railing, so sometimes we have to go other places while we're waiting on decisions to be made. With our blocking tacked in place, we can now start working on our deck bladder system. What I have here is a scrap chunk of EPDM that I've got laid out in 2-inch increments. And this will become more clear as we go on here, but essentially the EPDM has to start tight against the house, and then as it travels away from the house towards the outside, we have to get more of a dip. And for the most part, we're 16-inch on center. But for example, this bay is less than 16-inch because we wanted to accommodate for our blocking. So what do I need for a width when I snap my EPDM? In this case, 20 is going to be nice. That's going to give me really good drainage. But if I only did 20 center to center here, that's not quite enough. And 22 is a little bit better. 24, that might be a little bit much. Got a scrap piece of wood here. So relatively close to 0 on the center of the joist. I go to 22 here, and if I pin that down, that shows me how the EPDM is going to hang. And I've got roughly a 7-inch drop. So 7 inches of drop in less than 10 feet. That is pretty darn positive drainage. I could probably almost get away with going to 20. I'm actually going to check that out. Five and a half would do the trick, but I think I'm going to go back to 22 and then just really know that we're going to have no issues with drainage here. So the province annually sees about 46 inches of rainfall. That's precipitation in general, I should say. So 46 inches of precipitation. Grand Banana Island receives 50.3. So, you know, if you live in an area where you know that you're going to have that much water, you always want to go for positive drainage, and you want to make sure you're controlling where that water goes. So I think we're going to go 20 for this bay, because that still gives me really close to that same slope. Yeah, 6.5 only, but 22 for my 16 on center, and for this guy, which I believe is 14 on center, a little less than 14 on center, that's going to be great. We'll get a nice flow when it rains to the internal gutter that we haven't built yet. That'll be another project.
7 and a 16th.
7 and a 16th.
20 and 7/8.
20 and 7/8. We're marking the center line of each joist. 36 and 13/16. Okay. These are the most accurate center line dimensions I think I've had in a long time.
52 3/4.
52 3/4. How are you doing on your 13/16, Jaron?
Good.
That's 68 3/4 and one little one, in case you didn't know. All right. So this is tons of fun on this job. Because the basement is staying unfinished, we had this beautiful staging area. The last time that I did a deck bladder system, we had to kind of build a little bit of a table to work at. I know there's lots of people who will do each joist individually, or each joist bay individually, and that's wonderful and it works very well for them. I just find here with our rainfall and the way we do our decks that it's better to have one continuous piece, less opportunity for leaks. Much the same as anything else, at least in my opinion. The less seams in it, the chances are the tighter it is. Anyways, we're gonna snap some lines, and this side is gonna go in as the building. And then once we know where the joists are, then we get to rearrange that side for the fan, so to speak, because that side gets wider. What I had to do was lay out my center line and then do a fan off of that, because I want it to be narrow and that membrane to be tight against the house, and away against the beam I want it to be wider. So as you can see now, we've got essentially an angle cut. So roughly speaking, because I've made some adjustments for some of the narrower spots, but we're roughly speaking 16-inch on center on the back side, 22-inch on center at the front side. I usually leave myself a little bit of slack on the edge. As you can see here, like this was well past what I actually needed. This is what I needed. So I gave myself a little room for error. Yes, it's a little bit of a waste of EPDM, but I can always save all of my EPDM offcuts for making my own grommets, my own gaskets. Just keep billowing stuff down in between the joists, and when you have it all nice and you have universal sort of bellow, then you can trim this off. We had to change our game plan. So anytime in the past where I have done a deck bladder system, I've always been able to leave the siding out. I've always been able to, you know, piece the siding back in afterwards. And that has given me the ability to like wrap EPDM up the wall, and then I can shrink this side while I'm letting this side be bigger. So we're busting this out into pieces. We're basically kind of following like the Dr. Dex program and doing individual strips of EPDM for each joist bay. Either way, we're gonna get it done and it's gonna work. Okay, with our template confirmed, and basically we've managed to test drive a few pieces. As you can see, got a very shallow slope, tapers out to a substantial slope. Yes, we are having to staple these in place, but the staples are going to get covered over with a tape that will protect them. And by the time we get the deck boards down and essentially mechanically fastened in some way, shape, or form over the top of there, we're going to have a bit of a compression over top of each one of these staples as well, unless it happens to work out in the joint, in which case we'll be relying totally on tape for that. But where we are essentially doing a double layer, I am not really concerned that we're going to have any issues with water leakage anytime soon. Maybe by the time it's time to replace the deck.